Welcome to JMAB's Juicy Journey. Thanks for joining. We have ourselves a little bit to talk about today. It's going to be a good one. Well, back from Thanksgiving, we were able to make it over to Squim. It turns out my dirty state worker was clean of the COVID. So there was no issue in terms of getting out to a traditional Thanksgiving in terms of participation. A lot of people. It was great to be around a body of individuals I hadn't seen in a long time. A lot of energy. It was fun to talk, commiserate of the lockdown conditions. You know, a lot of the people that I interact with, especially in that environment, are small business owners. So they've taken it over the head, or they've been over a barrel, I should say, with these lockdown policies here in Washington State, and it's been really detrimental to them. And it's unfortunate because we now see that the data is very clear from tracing that individuals are getting COVID not from restaurants, but from grocery stores and their own home with people they live with. So that doesn't mean they're going out and visiting other people. So you think you can contain a virus, but you can't. It has to burn through society. You got to build up that herd immunity. Once you can get to that stage, there's much less risk to the general population. So those who are at risk, right, the elderly, individuals with underlying conditions, they can come out. They don't have to fear as much. But because we refuse to take the most logical choice, which is let it rip, if you're at risk, stay home, of course, then that's where, we're just going to stay in this position until there's a vaccine here, which is around the corner. It's December 1st right now, 2020. So I wouldn't be shocked if they start distributing that thing in the next several weeks. Like I said, I believed that that will be Trump's parting gift as a fuck you to Biden. He will make sure there's distribution of the virus or the vaccine for those who want it. And he'll probably use the military or other forms of government distribution, supply chains. I mean, maybe even leverage public companies as well, right? Your Amazons, your Walmart, these corporations have giant supply chains and can deliver the vaccine where we need it. So time will tell, but it is quite evident. And like I said in the past, the data will show, and I will go back and look at it when this is done, what was worse, the lockdowns or the coronavirus? And my prediction is the lockdowns. Now, that's economic pain, right, which we're going to feel for years. That's individuals who did not seek preventable treatments and will now have serious either chronic health issues or could die, as well as individuals with in general health issues who were not able to go to the gym and work out. They were locked into their home, essentially told to stay there. And then, of course, suicides are off the hook. And then also domestic violence against especially children on the rise. So these are all factors, but they're ignored by most politicians because that's too much noise. They can't account for that, right? It's easy just to go, COVID bad, wear a mask, stay home. Well, they actually are now looking at these masks. Now, N95s are one thing, but the normal cloth mask that a vast majority of society is wearing, you're wearing that thing for hours in some situations. And a lot of people, they believe, are getting sick from rebreathing contents, right? In and out, continuously. I know individuals who have to wear masks every day for work, and they have persistent coughs, colds, just sickly. Their immune system is under attack. And again, our government's not saying anything about working out, taking vitamins, supplements, getting outside, which is probably one of the best things you could do right now. And no, that does not mean with a mask on. Now, if you're in an enclosed environment with people, yeah, I'm courteous. I will, of course, wear my mask. I think it's appropriate to do. I don't have an issue with that. But these crazies out there who are wearing masks outside. Now, remember, I saw people in the wilderness in 90-degree weather with a mask on. The insanity, the paranoia, and the fear knows no bounds in the human condition. That is a fact. So obviously I don't subscribe to that. I'm willing to go anywhere, hang out with anyone. I don't have a problem. I'm not afraid. In fact, I was just looking at some CDC data today, and the overall death from corona, ages 0 to 22, 511 people. 511 people. Now, and I would say any demographic that is going to break lockdown rules, quarantine rules, it's going to be young people. I know I snuck out when I was a kid. I did things I wasn't told I should do, right? Because I was going to do it. I'm a kid and get away with it, right? Especially college age kids. So when I look at that demographic, 0 to 22 years of age, and 511 people in the United States have died from COVID-19, those people should be in school. They should not be in lockdown unless they have an underlying condition. They are very likely going to be okay. And we need to start sending that message out that it's okay to go live life again. Now, for people who want to wait for a vaccine, that's fine. For someone like me, who's I'm not interacting with people, right, who want to stay home, who want to be isolated. I'm not interacting with them. So you're safe. And if I'm in an enclosed environment, I have my mask on. But again, I'd like to point out, the data shows that a majority of individuals are getting this from going to Walmart, from going to their grocery store, from being at home with people they live with. So it's pretty hypocritical because we're not using data accurately. You know, everyone always says, follow the science. What does the science say? Well, anything in this world can be manipulated. And for a fact, data can be manipulated. You can make data tell whatever story you want it to tell. You can slice and dice it. And that's what we're getting here. We're just having bureaucrats slice and dice data so they can essentially keep us under lock and key for as long as possible. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at, and where we're going to go from here, I don't know. But I can tell you this. I mean, at this point, there's the infection rate, the case rate is dramatically high. It's higher. It's as high as it was when it first came out, back in February, March, right? But the death rate is shockingly low because we've learned. You know, it's kind of like riding a track for the first time, right? You go through it, you go slow, you make mistakes, you're trying to learn. But by the 10th, 15th time, 20th time you've been through that, man, you're cruising. You know the looks, you know what to do. And that's what any virus is, essentially. Once you kind of figure it out, how to contain it, how to control it in terms of impact to individuals, we make gains. And we've seen that. And we should be applauding those gains, but we don't. We applaud the fear. So the cases are not a big deal. They say in New York, about a third of individuals have antibodies present for corona. A third of New York. How many deaths have there been there? There's millions of people in New York. And yeah, actually a majority of the deaths, I believe, have been in New York. Probably over 100,000. I wouldn't be shocked. Actually, I did look at another statistic that a lot of these deaths, of course, are also impacting elderly individuals, right? People in nursing homes, things like that. So really, it's about being careful about where you're at. And then also, like I said, it's all about protection in terms of protecting your body. So a little less alcohol, a little more workout, get outside, fresh air. That's really what we need. So I don't know. Beyond that, this thing's just going to keep going until we get a vaccine. And hopefully that's something that's Trump's parting gift. At least that's what I think. And then, yeah, kind of another news, looking at the Biden transition coming in, a lot of just Obama, Clinton administration holdovers. I mean, we're getting the establishment back again. The gang is back, right? This is going to be excellent. I can't wait. So we're just going to have essentially 4 years of individuals trying to use the COVID virus to try to grow government, to try to take our rights away. I am sure they will try to implement some sort of national tracing mandate. They'll probably look at the ability to track your phone data, right, in terms of location data. Now, of course, NSA is, I'm sure, already doing that, but not openly. This will be type of a registry almost. So these things will be coming, unfortunately, and we'll have to fight against it because that's what you have to do. When the government goes too far, you push back. That's just natural. That's human nature. It's not wrong. It's not bad. It's good. It's the right thing to do. And it should feel good when you're doing it because you're making sure people understand that as an individual, you will make your own choices in life. I will read data. I will read the opinions of experts, and then I will make my own decision because that's what being an adult is. That's what being an American is. And that's what I'm all about. So we're going to keep rolling, and hopefully businesses open up in the January timeframe. I mean, Jay is going to keep these bitches locked down. He's trying to kill the middle class in this country. It's his goal. It is his outright objective, essentially, to divorce individuals from their ability to have their own destiny in life. And instead, we'll all be shopping online at Amazon or going to Walmart. That will be where we all go, and that's where we'll work. We'll work at an Amazon warehouse or Walmart, and everyone else gets UBI. So it's a crazy, crazy time we live in, and we'll probably look back in the future 5-10 years from now and just be like, God damn, what was that? But I do hope that when this is all done, right, just like when you're taking an exam at school, finals week, it's stressed. At the end, what do? We go party. And I'm hoping that when this is done, we do have a national just party. It would be nice. Open back up, get fucking wild. I would enjoy that. I think it'd be great. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of sensitivity out there right now. There's a lot of people living in fear. And, they need help. They need that extra comfort and also push to keep moving because that's all we can do. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on national level, right? So we're getting more of the same with Biden, who sprained his ankle, we found out, playing with his dog. So again, more hard-hitting articles from our mass media friends in terms of investigating these or scrutinizing these cabinet picks or what's going on with Biden in general, right? So what I've heard is it's all about the all-female communications team, that's great. I'm not sure, is there value in that statement? Is there something about their policy because they have ovaries? I'm not sure what the value of some of these stories are. It's just going to be puff. And then, that's all it's going to be. But beyond that, so this weekend I watched the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight. Fucking amazing. Loved that shit. To see, Mike Tyson had been in the ring in 15 years, so I was 22 the last time he was fighting. I've seen him fight before. I remember the Holyfield Tyson fight. It was huge news. I remember the night it happened. It was crazy. So to see him now, Tyson, that is, just make quite a turnaround in what I believe in life was really cool to see. An individual he's been around since the 1980s and what a public persona he's been in terms of decisions he's made, right? He has definitely made bad choices, but also just the labels that he's gotten, right? The reputation that he's had. So to see that turn around over time is pretty fucking cool. I liked that. Also the impromptu Snoop Dogg concert was pretty awesome. That was fun. And then Jake Paul said goodnight to Nate Robinson. That was pretty good. Poor Nate Robinson. Oh, poor Nate Robinson. We'll see. I don't think he quite understood what boxing is. He seemed to want to spend more time hugging Jake than actually boxing. So that poor guy. But yeah. So my goal between now and then, the next month, essentially, right? Next 30 days is to really be focused on myself because it's so easy to get wrapped up in all the craziness going on in this world, going through Twitter and things like that. So I've really been focused on, just home stuff, right? I was out chiseling rocks. Yep, chiseling rocks, breaking bigger rocks into smaller rocks so I can start building a retaining wall around my driveway, clearing vines, things like that. And, it's great. It's a good distraction. I'm hanging out with the dog. Really not doing any news. I mean, a little bit. Checking it here and there, a little YouTube, Twitter, in terms of what's happening. But, there's just a drip, drip, drip of the same old bullshit. And I don't see any value in that, especially as I get older. I feel like I'm watching reruns, It's like the same thing over and over again. Like every 10 years or 12 years or something. And I'm sure 30 or 40 years from now, I'm just going to be saying the same thing as a grumpy old man sitting on the porch, right? Nothing's changed. It's all the same with these young whippersnappers. But I mean, there's a bit of truth to that, When you're young, you want to tear it all down and fucking burn it down and start over again. When you're old, you've invested a little bit of time and energy into what exists, and you'd like to keep it around a while. It feels comfortable. It's not all bad. I'm not saying nothing should change, but all around, not a bad thing. And so that's why we look at things like the rise of socialism, right, in this country, where you have individuals now who are saying that socialism is a cure for the woes that we are facing economically, socially. But really, there's no validity behind these claims. They like to look at European or Northern European, Finland, Sweden, some of these other countries. But actually, someone like Sweden is actually one of the most free countries in terms of economics. It is not a socialist country. Yes, they have higher taxes in some of these countries for sure, and they take care of people. But you know what they have less of? In some of these Northern European countries, the ability to make their own decisions financially, to invest as they choose to, because they are essentially coddled for it. And I don't want that. I want to be able to make my own decisions in terms of my economic condition, in terms of how I spend my money. And yeah, of course, there should be a little bit for those who are needy, truly. But what's that dividing line? And how do I know what my return on money is? When I look at a lot of these different state or mostly like big city policies, they're not helping anyone. Homeless crisis gets worse. The drug problem gets worse. But they throw more money into it. And the truth is, it's just a lot of people, politicians, that get these bank accounts, and then they hire all their friends, and then they hire all their friends to six-figure income salaries. And why would they fix a problem? That's an income for life for them. So we're not going to see any change in some of that stuff, unfortunately. Really, it's about self-choice, to make that decision to be a better person. And yeah, it's going to suck if you have to start over again, or if you have to start from the bottom. And there should be resources to help you get that leg up when you have committed to the decision and shown that you are on a path to better yourself. But we don't get that. We want to give free housing to the homeless who are drug addicts and allow them to do drugs in their home. And I believe just recently a social worker was stabbed to death in one of the halfway houses in Seattle. So these policies are literally killing people that we're allowing in this state of Washington. And it's going around everywhere else too. California, Oregon, a lot of these other more liberal states. So it's a tough thing to watch, right? Because in one sense, you want to help. If you're asked to give 10%, right, 15% of your total income to help, sure, if it helps. But when you look at what it's going to, and then you start questioning it, and people are like, well, you can't. You just give the money. You don't get to actually question the value of that or anything. No. Again, I've always said these bureaucrats, well, politicians work for us. Unfortunately, bureaucrats don't. They work for themselves. They work to continue government. So that's one thing we're gonna have to keep working on, is getting them more and more out of the picture, getting more individuals, people directly involved, so we don't have to have these bureaucrats around. We can have politicians and very small skeleton crews, and then free market organizations, right? Nonprofits, I should say, not free market, but nonprofits out there. Those are the ones that should be engaging with government to be getting subsidized or to be getting funded based on their results, based on merit. That's what we should be looking at, just like any other organization. It shouldn't just be a free-for-all. It has to be based on some type of merit, and we really lack that because we don't have the backbone to demand it. So this is what we're left with, unfortunately. So, and we'll have more of that as time goes on. I don't see it subsiding anytime soon in this state, but there's where we're at. So yeah, I was going on my little tangent there, right? But my God, it's just wild to see kind of what's going on right now with Trump. I mean, it's kind of over at this point. I don't think he is going to be able to turn over the election, but I still think he might run again in 2024. I would not be shocked if he announced he was going to run during Biden's inauguration. That'd be awesome. I mean, I know which one I would watch. Which one's going to be more entertaining. A guy who could possibly have a stroke and die at a podium. Well, that could be kind of entertaining to watch. Or Trump, who's going to, let it out and be pissed. But again, what I would like to see before he goes, let's pardon all of our individuals around the world who are being held, like Snowden and Julian Assange. Let's give them the pardons and bring them back. Also, a lot of our criminal justice system, Trump does have the power to release a lot of them. So if they have nonviolent records and they're in jail for some bullshit charge of a petty drug or something like that, I would just pardon them too. Go wild, who cares? Let's have fun. And also, of course, release any information on UFOs. That's what we have to know. Gotta know about the UFOs. So Trump's got another month, 6 weeks, he's got some time. But, kind of it's winding down. The lawsuits are getting a little more interesting. And unless he can prove, and with resounding data, right? I don't even want to say a smoking gun, because that's probably too much. But something where you can point to it and the average individual would say, yes, that's an objective argument. And we should follow that and see where does it go. But until we have that, and then it gets to the Supreme Court, we're at where we're at. So, just roll with it at this point. So that's what I'm going to do. Like the other day, I was on my scooter, just scooting around, having a good time. No issue there. I love doing that. I had to ride my scooter. I ended up pulling my calf muscle on the upper calf. Bad. I did a kettlebell swing workout, and then a Turkish get up, and then kettlebell squats. And then I also did a 10% mile-and-a-half incline walk on my treadmill at 3.6 to 3.9 miles per hour. And I tore the shit out of my upper calf. So I was not able to, I did a turkey day run because I did this on Wednesday. I pulled it on Wednesday, it hurt Thursday. It's like, fuck, I want to run anyways. And then I could barely walk. So that was fun for 3 days. I had to ice it, ibuprofen, typical, incline, kept it inclined, kept it cold, and then, or elevated. So, it feels better now. I did my run again today, a little slower pace, but got it done. So that feels good. And then yesterday I did a beast workout. It was great on the old, what was I doing? Doing some arms, abs. Then I did some boxing on the old boxing pads in honor of the Mike Tyson fight. I thought that was a good thing to do, so I enjoyed that. But yeah, like I said, I'm really focused on getting out there, doing things that interest me, things that have value. It's really been interesting with COVID because I haven't seen family or friends really, and I mean really like normally, right? Like now for 8-9 months. And I don't know. It's just interesting. It's a really weird thing to be because it really forces you to focus on what do you want to be, who do you want to be, what do you want to do with your time, in a way that I've never had to experience that before. And it's kind of led to this, right? Like I'm here doing this. In the past I've talked about it, but I've never really done it necessarily. So this is kind of an outgrowth of COVID. And I love it. I love to be able to talk and hang out with people, and I think it's a really fun way to spend time. So I'm going to keep doing it. Keep finding more interesting stuff going on. Like my head's a little spacey today. I've had like 2 days in a row of like 5 hours sleep. So I'm going to try to get to bed. Hopefully I go to bed normal, but I go to bed at 10. But we'll see if I can actually sleep past 3 a.m. So that's my goal. But I usually don't get out of bed that early. Like when I wake up at 3, like I try to go back to bed for a bit, but I know I'm up. But it's just like, God, what am I going to do? From like 3 to 7 a.m. in the morning, 4 fucking hours, that's all sleep time for most people, but I'm like, oh, well, I guess I could go watch TV or read about 10,000 articles online. Like, oh, it's a tough situation. So I usually just kind of stay in bed until, like today I was in bed until like 5:30, and I just got up and drank some coffee, and I did my run at 7. So, that's what I try to do, at least, is be a little productive. So if I can keep doing that, keep my focus, that's the way to do it, and come into 2021 strong, put COVID behind us, watch Biden die in office. We have a lot of things to look forward to. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. So you guys, be good this week. Have fun. We'll be back next week. Nothing too major going on the rest of this week. Like I said, just focusing on, stuff I can control, right? What can I control? My locus of control. So I'll be focused on some yard stuff, working out, just, keeping busy with self-interest and not with influences externally, which, I don't think really adds a lot of value for me. So you guys be good. Take care. Peace, love, and I'll see you next time. Adios.